but I've heard things like don't use like analogies, or don't use jargon, because that's not helpful when it comes to language barriers. Do you have any other tips as far as if you're talking to someone who doesn't speak, or might speak the same language, but maybe it's not their first language, or maybe it's they're from a different culture? Like how do you approach that language barrier?
The most important thing is it sounds like a no-brainer, but it's really what I'm doing now. It's to slow down, because when
Okay.
we are not communicating in our native language, when it's English, or we often underestimate how hard it is for people to speak in that language in English all day. Certainly, if the basic structure of their own language in which they were raised is very different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Dutch. I've been grown up from a very early age with English on TV, on the radio, etc. I'm very much used to it. I've worked all my life in English, so you can hear I'm not a native English speaker, but it's fine. But when you are from last week, I did a workshop with a lot of Finnish people, and the structure of the Finnish language is very different from English.
Mm-hmm.
For them, it's usually very hard work to express themselves the whole day in that language. India is a very well-known example. Many companies have outsourced their IT, their back office services to India. And I'm sure you've come across that moment that you call one of these back offices, I mean, voluntarily or not, and you get this person on the phone who's very rapidly speaking. And it's English, but it doesn't sound like English to you.
Mm-hmm.
The main advice is slow down. And in training, strange enough, but we spent quite some time on that, yeah. Think about your answer, slow down considerably, and that makes it so much easier for French, for Finnish, for Asian people to adapt to English, which is not their first language.
Mm. That's a good tip.
And of course, there's other things. I mean, yeah, like you said, I mean, jargon is it's great that you mentioned that. Yeah, jargon is something to avoid. Although it's hard because we don't realize we're using jargon. But to us, it's normal language. But
Right.
still, to be consciously aware of that is a big step.